learnt from Aboriginals. When you're trying to survive, it's critical to use your time and your energy in the most effective way. I could muck around all day here with a hook and a line and go home hungry. This way, you can be sure of a decent feed. Once the bark's been pounded up, the best part of the job is spreading it round the waterhole. So in the midday heat, you can cool off for half an hour or so and just wait for the results.
Well done. Woo!
There you go. That's fishing Arnhem style. Aboriginal people have taught me a lot. They've been pretty generous with their knowledge, and I'm grateful for that, because I can now see the bush and its full potential in a very different way. There are so many little things that can add up to survival. You know, it's really amazing that no matter where you find yourself out in the bush, you can always find something that'll help you survive. That's tremendous. Those leaves, those flowers there, they're loaded with pollen. When you dunk them in your brew, they sweeten it up for you. In fact, they're off the melaleuca, the paper bark. And the bark off that tree can help you to start your fire, the tinder it is. And if you're out of tea, well, you can get the leaves themselves, crush them up, boil them up, and they're a bit of a tea substitute. Not much of one, but still they'll do the job. That's where it got its common name from in the first place, tea tree. There was a bloke came through here years ago, Leichhardt, travelled further up the creek that way, and went right through up into Port Essendon. And he used the countryside all the way along his journey, little tricks like this, and got him all the way through up there. Trouble is, a few years later, he went out in the desert country and no one's seen him ever since. Even today, for most Australians, this can still seem like a hostile place. From here on, I'm on my own on this trip, and travelling through this country is a challenge at the best of times. Dirt roads turn into tracks, and many of them don't appear on the maps. So one false turn can land you in trouble. You certainly wouldn't want to break down out here. I'm now a day's drive into Arnhem and heading northeast to the coast, to a place called Waygiver. If you do find yourself in trouble out here, there are three things you've got to start looking for: food, water and shelter. And Aboriginal people have always known that the most important was fresh water. This is exactly the country I'm looking for, because those casuarinas there indicate to me somewhere under the sand here we've got to have a bit of fresh water. Back there behind the sand dunes there's a big water table which comes seeping down underground, emptying itself out into the ocean. There, here it is. And if my hunch is right, this should be fresh water. Let's try him out. A bit muddy there for a minute. I'll just let him settle for a second. Yep, that's it. You get gallons and gallons of it coming down here. This whole beachfront area here has got this stuff pouring out into the ocean here. You get these casuarinas all the way around the Australian coastline. And they don't always indicate that there is water underground like this. Sometimes you might just get little bits. But around this part of the world, it's a pretty sure sign that you've got a good supply of fresh water. This will be enough to keep me going for a bit. Keep pushing further north before the start of the wet season. It's another 10 hours drive to the Walker and then the Coolitong River, where I can set up camp and get some work done before the rains set in. Of course, when you do an overnight camp, it's nice to do it near a bit of water like that. Can't always do it, but when you can get yourself a bit of water, you grab it. I keep my camps pretty simple. Just a swag, which is nothing more than a bit of canvas and a couple of sheets and a couple of blankets. Maybe a chair, one of these things here, which are commonly referred to in the army as chairs millionaire, because when you sit down in them you feel like a bit of a millionaire at the end of a hard day. And the only other bit of luxury I've got is a mosquito net. And I'll tell you what, in some places up here you need it. Of course, it's not always the mosquitoes that are the main problem around the area. Around this part of the world as well, we've also got buffalo. And if they come tromping through your camp in the middle of the night, they can give you a bit of a nasty surprise. There we go. When you set up your camp, you should always make sure there's no ants around the place too, because that can be a bit of a problem in the middle of the night, particularly if it's raining, because they tend to come around and crawl on top of your bed and roost up with you for the night. I think I'll put my fire over there, out of the wind a bit, so the smoke doesn't blow through my camp. It's my job to catalogue and analyse all the bush tucker resources around these areas. And there's still an awful lot that we don't know about. Of the countless Australian bush foods, only one, the macadamia nut, has been produced commercially. Our diet today basically comes from the plants and animals that have been brought into the country, then bred and cultivated up to finally produce the food you find in the supermarket.